I'm not your gossip girl, I'm the headline. Truth with a curve, baby, redefine. Welcome to the thirst trap. All the truth looks good in a tight wrap. We talk love, power, soul, and sin. Turn the world on, let the light in. Yeah, the thirst trap news. You'll drink it up, it's the real you. Paper China, first real news, where every headline's a revelation.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Because some truths need repetition before they anchor into the soul. We have to vibe together, consciously, intentionally, spiritually. Not just agree, not just coexist, but vibrate together. Because whether people want to admit it or not, this world is not moved first by politics or money or even weapons. It's moved by frequency. Every thought you think carries a charge. Every emotion you feed carries a current. Every belief you hold sends a signal into the unseen architecture of reality. And right now, humanity is standing at a crossroads of frequency. Fear is loud. Anger is addictive. Chaos is profitable, but light, real light, requires participation. Light doesn't dominate, it doesn't scream, it doesn't coerce. Light resonates. And when enough people tune to it, at the same time, something ancient activates. This is where prophecy lives, not in dates or doom, but in collective alignment. Every spiritual tradition knew this in its own language. The Christians called it the body, the mystics called it the current, the witches called it the circle, the ancients called it harmony. Different words, same truth. Evil does not fall because it is attacked. Evil falls because it is out-vibrated. Darkness feeds on fragmentation, on isolation, hopelessness, and the lie that you are alone. But the moment people remember they are connected, energetically, spiritually, and cosmically, the spell breaks. That's why division is pushed so relentlessly, why outrage is algorithmically rewarded, why despair is normalized. Because a disconnected people are easy to control. But a synchronized people, that terrifies everything built on deception. When we consciously choose to align not around hate, not around fear, but around truth, courage, love, and clarity, we become something more than individuals. We become a field. And fields don't argue. Fields don't panic. Fields override. This is not about being perfect. This is not about being good vibes only. It's not about bypassing pain. This is about transmutation, taking grief and turning it into resolve, taking anger and turning it into protection, taking fear and turning it into awareness. Alchemy has always been internal first. When enough people do that work at the same time, even quietly, even privately, reality shifts. Empires weaken, illusions crack, truth finds traction. That's how evil has always been conquered. Not by matching its violence, but by starving it of resonance. Evil requires agreement. It requires participation. It requires despair. Light only requires presence. So when I say we need to vibe together, I don't mean pretend everything is fine. I mean breathe together, ground together, remember together, plan together. I mean choosing not to let fear hijack your nervous system, choosing not to let hate colonize your heart, choosing not to let hopelessness convince you that your energy doesn't matter, because it does. You matter. Your frequency matters. Your attention matters. Every time you choose love over rage, clarity over confusion, courage over comfort, you strengthen the signal. And when enough of us do it at once, that's when prophecy fulfills itself. Not as some distant fantasy, but as a lived reality. The old texts weren't predicting a savior descending from the sky. They were pointing to the collective remembering. A moment when humanity realizes we are the light we have been waiting for. So tonight, wherever you are, I invite you into the circle, not one of exclusion, but one of resonance. Not one of uniformity, but one of alignment. Set your intention, guard your mind, protect your spirit, vibrate higher, not to escape the world, but to heal it. Because when light synchronizes, evil doesn't stand a chance. It never has. Hey there, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see who's in the chat. Cover Pros did a good face smack. And a thumbs up. Flora Patria, welcome. Estores, Forsaken Sun, and Backwater. Good to see a familiar face. Good evening, Backwater. Hope you're doing well. And we have Homegrown in the chat. In the live chat. Tomorrow I have Raven Harrison coming on in studio for my podcast. She is running for Congress in Florida District, I want to say 23. Yes, 23. So we'll be spending some time with her. Hello, Rumble Land. I wish I could see who is there. I see producer Ryan's in the chat. So give me a wave. And yeah, I think I've been fighting off the flu or something. My pharmacist screwed up my medication, so my medication got suddenly altered. So I think that's been part of my problem for the last 8 days, being cranky face. Kind of didn't even realize it, but now that my meds have been fixed, I'm on my full dose as of last night, and I feel crazy, slow. So, Prost, para los perritos, cheers, skull. So if you guys could let me know who's over in Rumble. I don't know. I don't see names anymore because I'm using Rumble Studio. So if you want me to know you're there, you're gonna have to send a chat because I cannot see who's there just by, from the way I used to do it. Okay. So what do I have on the menu for you today? Well, we are gonna have, hopefully, fan of the day. We're working on doing a merch store, getting a soundboard set up. And, so we can have little fun effects. I redid my space behind me. So it's got my crystals and my flowers, and, it's very a Midsummer Night's Dream, if you could see it up close. Backwater says, yeah, I got free work week because I got this stupid flu. I keep feeling like I'm fighting the flu off because my nose keeps getting itchy. And then, nothing happens. All right, what do I have on the menu for you today? First video. Good luck with that, Iran. Greenland chooses war. Renee Good's dad is MAGA. Maybe we don't get in the water with a shark. 2 types of school. Finally, some brutal honesty. Russia is doing what with African recruits? J.D. Vance's Secret Service gets honeypotted. There is no changing the mind of stupid. Can a man get pregnant? How many people were killed in Iran? CNN's coverage of ICE under Obama. Obama is a hypocrite. So where did the Somali fraud money go? And smart dog. Libs cry lots here. And Rose DeLuca. Hello, friends. Okay. And so, thank you, Russ. I appreciate it. It's good to have you with us tonight. Tomorrow, I have a congressional candidate for Florida District 23 coming on in studio for an interview. And she's beautiful and super patriotic. And, yeah, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I'll be interviewing her. And let's get into our first video. All right. Good luck with that, Iran.
Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it's worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S.
He doesn't seem very bothered by that at all now, does he? He's just like, yeah, whatever. No one wants to screw with the U.S. You know what I mean? Nobody does. Look at his hat. What is a obnoxious hat, I tell you. Okay. Looks like Greenland's choosing war.
Breaking news, Greenland has chosen war with the United States and has chosen NATO as their defender. Trump sent a warning to NATO yesterday saying that if America invades Greenland, NATO needs to stand back, and that any NATO troops on the island would result into a war with America. And today, the Greenland Prime Minister has asked NATO for formal protection and rejected all ties with the United States, meaning there will be no negotiations. And Trump has made it clear, quote, "We will have Greenland, America." And today, the Greenland Prime Minister has asked NATO for formal protection and rejected all ties with the United States, meaning there will be no negotiations. And Trump has made it clear, quote,
I mean, I don't blame him for this reaction. Like, we would be acting the same way. We would be like, no, you're not freaking taking us.
"We will have Greenland and will not rule out military force." The situation now is if the United States puts a soldier on Greenland, NATO Article 5 will be activated. At the request of Denmark, who is the owner of Greenland, and NATO, more specifically France, has already chosen their side, stating that they will come to support the Danes. And even plans are being drafted behind closed doors for a NATO defense of Greenland against the United States, with French nuclear submarines leading the way. It's already reported that Trump is more than ready to sacrifice NATO in order to acquire Greenland. Who would win? Comment below, NATO or the United States? Breaking news, Greenland has chosen war with the United States and has...
I've always been for getting out of NATO anyway. They don't do shit for us. We do everything for them. We don't need to be with NATO. America only. Gang, gang. That's what I say. All right. Let's see. Renee Good's dad is MAGA.
I've got an important question about the situation in Minnesota.
Okay, that's not the video. Oh, maybe it is.
Nicole Good. I've been speaking to her father, who is a big supporter of yours, like many Americans are, but he's hard.
Okay, I don't know if you could hear it. The reporter said that her father's a big supporter. Renee Good's father's a big supporter of Donald Trump.
Broken right now.
I can understand that.
He's heartbroken because his daughter is dead. That's obvious. He's also heartbroken because your administration so quickly has come out and said she's a domestic terrorist. What do you want to say to her father right now?
Well, I want to say to the father that I love all of our people. They can be on the other side. As you say, he might be on my side.
He is on your side.
And I think that's great. And I do. I think it's great. And I would bet you that she, under normal circumstances, was a very solid, wonderful person. But, you know, her actions were pretty tough. I mean, I've seen it many ways and many different shapes and forms. But the bottom line is, look, we have hundreds of thousands of murderers in our countries, killers. ICE is trying to get them out. They were let in through an open border policy of sleepy Joe Biden. ICE is working very hard to get them out. Their job is being made very, very difficult. And, you know, when you look at that tape, it can be viewed two ways, I guess. But when you look at the way that car was pulled away, there are a couple of versions of that tape that are very, very bad.
I've got an important question about the situation in Minnesota.
Well, no wonder Renee Good had such a hatred for Donald Trump, because she was a woman in her 30s still wanting to rebel against mommy and daddy, I suppose. Don't you notice Trump's not looking so orange lately? He finally must have heard me telepathically say, "Why aren't you just using Melania's spray tan? Because hers looks wonderful." Maybe he is. All right. Looks like Captain BS joined. What's up? And John, there's Sand Turkey, Bass Catcher, and Jeff. How you guys doing tonight? Hope you guys are doing well. Jose says, as a former Democrat, I can't believe I supported them. It's a cult now. I know we keep talking about how it's so culty. Welcome, Irish. Good to see you. Glad to see you guys coming and hanging in with me. You ain't getting sick of me yet, I guess. All right. Well, let's go on to our next video. And then I'm going to open the hotline up after this song. So if you feel like calling in, I don't know, Captain BS, if you know this, but we have a listener hotline like the good old days when you could call into the radio and you could chat with me. No video, just audios. Don't be shy. All right, HGB. See ya, HBG. See you soon. Bass guitar. I just say Captain BS. Captain Bass guitar. Captain Bass. What's up, Irish? All right. Maybe don't get in the water with a shark. Maybe I should put a trigger warning. I'm not sure.
Here we go. Oh my God.
He's in the cage. He's in the cage. Oh my
Was there anybody in there?
He said, is there anybody in there all casually?
Nobody's in the cage.
He said, no one's in the cage.
Somebody in the cage?
Yeah, somebody's in the cage. Somebody's in the cage. Oh my God. It has to be Ming. It's Ming.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Jeez.
Holy fuck. This is why you will never swim in the water with a shark. Oh my God. Shark swim right through.
He's in the cage.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
You see how he threw the hat? He's like, oh shit, we got a fucking problem now. Ooh boy, they about to be sued. Oh, this is scary. People that I have a client that just told me she's not scared of sharks, and we have so many sharks here in Florida. We're an hour north of the shark bite capital of the world, and I don't like getting in the water in the Atlantic. Oh, that's all blood, man.
Was there anybody in there?
There's no blood in the water there. I wonder if this is real.
Somebody in the cage?
I wonder if this is AI.
Somebody's in the cage. Oh my god. No, it has to be Ming. It's Ming.
Oh gosh. Okay. Jeez.
Okay, I guess he's fine. He swam out
There we
of
go.
the cage. It's real. So he swam out of the cage. I do not ever want to encounter a shark. I can't. I would panic. Producer Ryan says it's real. It's not AI. And then Backwater says it's an older video about 2 years ago. Okay, well, I guess production put it in there for me because I've been on a shark and orca kick for like the last few days. I'm watching all these crazy like exotic pet owner videos too. These people that keep these exotic pets, I'm talking about people that know what they're doing. And the states that want to make it all illegal, they need to stop that because there are not a lot of people that are qualified to keep lions, tigers, bears. And this one guy had my favorite, an elephant. He had 4 elephants, and he had tigers and lions too. But these 4 elephants were by far his favorite. And these elephants, like, to have a personality that could command the respect out of an animal that size is just a gift. And like these states want to make it like illegal everywhere. And it's kind of sad. I think they should not do that. I would stop that from happening if I had any power. Yeah, you're going to have people that impulse buy because they have the money to do it, but people do the same thing with dogs and puppies. So you just have to go after those people and remove the animals and put the animals in better situations like you would with a dog or a cat. I don't think exotic animal ownership should be cracked down on so hard. But Florida is pretty loose about it because we have, the subtropical climate. So theirs isn't so strict. We had a tegu, we've got snake and stuff like that. But yeah, lots of states are humanize animals, which is bothersome. So yeah, maybe just don't get in the water with like a shark, All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the listener hotline and give you guys a chance to call in if you feel like it. The number is 904-530-1422. So let me make sure that is on. Do not disturb is on. Okay. So if you want to give us a call, the number is 904-530-1422. Wowzers, folks. As a mom, watching my kid go into the ocean without me in there is terrifying. I also almost drowned because of a riptide, just like not paying attention to the fact that there was a storm coming in when I was like 19. So then I just I just panicked. A surfer saved my life, and the only thing I remember him telling me when he got me was, "If you don't calm down, we're both gonna die." I was like, "Whoa, okay." Okay, it is serious, but I don't want to panic. And I know thrashing around makes sharks go into attack mode. Same thing with like alligators. Alligators, I think, are scarier to me than sharks, to be honest with you, because a shark is more likely to let you go than an alligator. Alligator is going to drag you down, fucking stuff you in a log. And that's scary. Oh, Backwater says he's got 2 axolotls. They are cool as fuck. We lost our koi that we had for like 8 years. which was really sad. And my daughter and I were like, we should get an axolotl next. And then I'm going to build a pond. So I'm going to put koi in the pond. But probably that, I don't know. I would have to put something over the pond to keep the critters out. Maybe put some turtles in there. That would probably help. And then the axolotls could live in there, but then we couldn't see them. So I would have to put them in an aquarium. But I want to... Gator tastes lovely. So does rattlesnake. I do know that to run away from an alligator on land, using running a zigzag. But I'm just always very careful in the South. You know, going into any body of water, because alligators are a real thing, man. And they are prehistoric. And it's just terrifying. I'm more afraid of alligators than I am snakes, because I'm used to looking for snakes in the mountains, but we didn't have gators in the mountains. So the gators is a new thing for me. And sharks. The jellyfish, I don't mind being around them in the Gulf because you can see them. In the Atlantic, you can't see them. I just don't like the Atlantic side. Thank you, Raider. You're so sweet. I love red licorice. Real licorice, like the old school licorice, not that Twizzler shit. Yeah, I was just about to turn the hotline off. So y'all be ready. It's going to come on in about 4 more videos if you want to call in. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. All right. Hey, Ed. All right, we're going to get into our next video. 2 types of school. Probably should mute that. This is a friggin' fact. Good God. This is why. Ooh, ratchet. Oh, that makes my stomach queasy. I'm gonna fight once. This little short Mexican girl decided that she was going to, I'm 5'8". She was like to hear of me and overweight. And she grabs me by the hair. And I'm just like looking at her baby daddy. And I'm like, get her off of me now before she loses her face. And he's just standing there stunned. And I'm like, she's going to rip my scalp off. So I am going to knock her out. And this is about as calm as I was saying it. And I'm holding her arm like this, trying to lift her up off the ground to give my scalp some relief. And so I knocked her damn tooth out. And she cut her cheek open. And then she bit me in the shoulder. And I shoved her to the ground. That was about, how old was I? I was 25, 26. Young and dumb. Hanging out with idiots, getting me in stupid situations. Ugh, that's what that was. I don't find myself in situations like that anymore, you know. I don't know what that question means, Ed. Ed D's nuts. All right. Well, there you have it. Private school is the better option. Okay. Next video, Finally, some brutal honesty.
Yes, of course. You know, I used to blow my friends when I was a kid.
Were you bi before this?
Yes, of course. You know, I used to blow my friends when I was a kid. And there's no way, like, there's this weird narrative where they're saying if you're with somebody transgender, you're totally heterosexual. Like, I mean, whatever you want to tell yourself, but if you're involved with somebody and you have a dick and they have a dick, you're not a straight male. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know how to break it.
agree.
Yeah, please. Should be a bumper sticker. The message should be you're not straight, and it's okay that you're not straight. That's how I look at it. I don't care what other people tell themselves, but it's like the message should just be who.
It's a conundrum, right? Like, why do you try so hard to be cis? You know, you're trying so hard to be a cis version of the opposite. It's like, what? Kind of my brains are fried. There's the ones that really truly have this psych degree engaged. When they're little, they don't understand why you're telling them they're the gender that they are before they even really understand the gender stuff, because they're just wanting to play one with the opposite gender a lot. They tend to just exhibit the traits naturally. As a parent, you'll notice it very, very young when it's real, but it's like under 1% of the population have this truly, like, born out of the womb like this. And you would hear from preschool or kindergarten teachers like, hey, I'm really trying to get your daughter to go into the girls' bathroom, but she just keeps going into the boys and doesn't understand why she can't go into the boys. They think something's wrong. The kid thinks something's wrong with everybody else very early on. And so the rest of it is traumatized people, people dealing with trauma, people dealing with bipolar, and people dealing with autism, because there's a euphoria that comes from it. And, they're seeking a dopamine flow. And it's in any of those cases, it's all mental health. And whereas one you won't truly be able to recover from, the other three you can with deep therapeutic trauma work, PTSD work, and brain chemistry, addressing brain chemistry too. So it's just getting them to the point where they understand that this is not always biological. In fact, odds are it's not biological. Let's dig a little deeper. But you can't just come out the gate assuming one way or the other. You have to actually triage them. You have to actually vet them. You have to go through a diagnostic process. And if you're an honest therapist and you're not one that has been brainwashed by the cult of this system, then you would be unbiased going into the diagnostic stage. But morally and ethically, you should not allow anyone to self-diagnose their mental health. Someone who is mentally unwell cannot diagnose themselves. Just by theory of relativity, they can't. So you wouldn't want to just have one area psychologically where we just automatically affirm it. That's where you know you're being misled by a cult. And a lot of these therapists are afraid to be like, oh, I'm not accepting, and be labeled as someone who's not accepting. And then they just fall for the cult tactics while they're in university. And, y'all know some of y'all know my story. I dropped out of Harvard X. I was just trying to supplement my bachelor's with some stuff during COVID. And since it was COVID, Harvard was offering classes. So I was like, let me check this out. So I took neuroscience and I took children's rights just for curiosity's sake. And I walked out of the children's rights class because they were Marxists, teaching the parents teaching these people, the students, that parents are the number one enemy of children because they have the most power over them, and compared them to Nazis. So I dropped out. So it's been a multi-level and multi-discipline deployment onto, hey Roger, onto people that have what we think is authority over us. They start there and brainwash them first. It's like in the cult that I grew up in, the elders were brainwashed the most because the flock had to do what the elders said. So the headquarters, the society of it, you know, you had your elder training to, you know, whatever, to be an elder. It's like being a deacon or whatever. And then you have the different levels of elders, so different responsibilities within the church and like a political hierarchy, I guess you would say. And so yeah, they would brainwash them the most because they had to really believe their authority over us for us to comply. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. All right, let's watch the rest of this video. Just went on a lunar rant.
You are. You don't have to maze it to get back to heterosexual because that's the only right answer.
There's a lot of people that just, whatever it is, they can't do conventional.
Right.
It has to be something different. I don't even know if it's totally sexual or it's just everything has to be a little weird or something
it's
that
fetishized. So that was another point I was going to make in my rant and forgot. What is the cult of it? They traffic these people. After these people get chopped and screwed, they really don't have much of a life yet left. A lot of these kids make huge regrets. A lot of them, if they don't kill themselves, end up getting trafficked into porn. And so it's a fetish that is trying to be normalized because it's one step closer to normalizing pedophilia, in my opinion.
grandpa wouldn't approved of or something like that. Like how much of it is just deviant?
It's a real relationship. So it's like the sexual aspect or the different, like I don't think of that when I'm talking to her or arguing with her. She's just my wife. It's just Nikki. Like the things that might attract you into a situation in life, if that's all it is or that's the basic push of it, maybe some people make it a lifestyle and get married. But I can't see myself having married because everything wears off. Like everything that feels weird doesn't feel weird when you do it more than once or more than 10 times or 1,000 times. So there's nothing that she and I do that feels bizarre to me or feels different to me. But I've had, with women, I've had these relationships my whole life. So it's like, I know what you're saying, but that wasn't what attracted me to her because I would have went for something weirder because she's a very traditional person. Mm-hmm. Like she's surprisingly tactile and traditional and non-fetishy and weird stuff. And if I was choosing for that reason, I would have went with somebody much more into fetish or perverted role play, or none of that is her energy.
So Seth, for the context, I grew up in the Jehovah's Witnesses cult. I was born into it. My dad was very high up in it. So I was, preacher's kid syndrome, everything. It took me 10 years to get out of it. I never really accepted it in my heart. I knew something about it was wrong. And anything you can imagine that goes on in a cult, that went on in this cult, and it's a pedophile's playground, and so as a result, that happened to me. Except my perpetrators were all women, so it happened to me 4 times in that cult. So that's a little bit of my background. Hey Woodrow, how you doing? Welcome to my podcast. Glad to see you again tonight. Hi, Sis Spawning, Sis Spawn 72. Love your username. And Ed says my uncle is a Jehovah's Witness. It's a terrible thing. You're not allowed to marry outside of it, or you get marked or shunned. You're not allowed to go to college. You're not allowed. My husband is the reason why men are allowed to wear beards now. That's a long story. I'll tell you all about it one day. Proud of him for that. And thank you, Roger. I am a very spiritual person, and I think, like, when I tell you spiritual, I mean I have gifts, and it took me a long time to just accept it, just to be able to tell a stranger because of course in a cult, even more so in a cult, I'm demonic having gifts. And that's the one thing that saved my life. I think that's the reason why I never subscribed to the cult, as I just knew spiritually it was wrong.
At all, which is weird. I guess maybe it's good for me, but I feel like she's probably.
Oh, I remember you, Ed. I remember you because you were on during an episode when I was talking about my roots in Freemasonry on my dad's side.
The most tactile, normal person I've dated for a long time.
Were you bi before this?
Yes, of course. I used to blow my friends when I was a kid. And there's no way, there's this weird narrative where they're saying if you're with somebody transgender, you're totally heterosexual.
Thank you, Vincent.
Whatever you want to tell yourself, but if you're involved with somebody and you have a dick and they have a dick, you're not a straight male.
Oh, yeah. That's how we started. That brutal honesty got us in a Luna rant. Dun, 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 dun. And Seth, yes, I agree. All religions are cults to some degree. Religion is the evil tentacle inside spirituality that's the devil disguised as Jesus. As God. Jesus never intended for a religion to be started in his name. To be Christian means to be Christ-like. What he meant was behave like me and you will ascend to the divine like me, because the kingdom with God is within you. So, we got into that last night. It tends to come up a lot in my show. Thank you, Vincent. And yes, Jesus wasn't a Christian because obviously it started after he existed. He was just simply teaching spirituality, and which is what the Bible now calls witchcraft. Let that sink in. Your prayers and petitions are the exact same thing. Prayers are angel food, but prayers don't get answered. It doesn't matter what religion you are. Prayers don't get answered when you're not vibing with spirit. That's why my monologue was what it was at the start of the show. You have to start hearing the voice of God, pay attention to your conscience, that parental ego in psychology. You have the id, the ego, and the super ego. The id is the child. The ego is the self, how you are in present form, and the superego is the parental voice, your conscience. So your instinct is your child, your inner child, your higher self, your purest form before you became jaded and felt the constant need to justify, argue, defend, explain to every person around you. And everyone knows why I'm saying that, because we're all different. We're all a little weird. We all kind of are a little bit more open-minded because we've realized we're in a matrix, and religion is one of the programs that has been deployed. It's part of the program, and we're trying to break free from the programming. So getting in touch with spirit's the way to do it. So going back to the ego, that's yourself, who you are today, all the way up to now. Your awareness of yourself in the moment. And the active part of your mind that chooses things in the moment. Now, the super ego, the parental ego in psychology. So in psychology, the root word of psychology is psyche. It translated to Greek, it means the spirit. So psychologists, your therapists, treat the mind. Psychiatrists are not therapists. They treat the brain. So the super ego is what a therapist helps you get in touch with, a good one anyway, because the super ego, the parental voice, that's your ancestors, that's your ancestral voice that's encoded into your DNA, and also how your brain interprets your connection to spirit. Okay, so your instinct is what keeps you connected to nature, connected to God, and then hearing the voice of God is that conscience, that super ego, that parental voice that goes, I'm going to do this. And then you're like, maybe I shouldn't. If you can catch that in a moment and just repeat that more often and catch that moment where you're having that moment of governance, self-governance, and hang on to that and enjoy it and call it back to you and really like who you become from that. When you do this on a repeated basis and you become whole again, all three parts, the id, the ego, and the superego, then you are now fully connected to God, which is within you. So, there was a big gap in the Bible where Jesus was like missing. If you read the other books in chronological time, he was also in the Americas and in the Asian parts. So I think he took a lot of their teachings of consciousness and awareness and like in the East, and then you have the natives with their understanding of nature and its representation of God in the 3D form, the spirit, the all, the everything. And I think he brought that back to the Middle East because, the Jews really, their government system really designed an order where government and religion were one and the same. And so all of their laws were backed up by religion. And so they were so distracted from nature and spirit, the essence of love, because they were basically living under slavery. They were so exhausted. If you really read what they were saying to Jesus, the disciples, like, how do we know there's so many laws? And he was just like, the law of love is what matters. Okay, you may not, your law here in this land may say you can't eat pork, but if you go to someone's home and they're feeding you pork because that's all they have, the worst thing to do is to offend them and make them feel terrible because they've also just given you resources that are hard to come by. So the better thing is show love to them. That's the worst sin, is not showing the love to them and being like, I can't eat that. I am Muslim or I am Jewish. That is hurting them and embarrassing them, which is a bigger sin than breaking your law. So he was teaching it's not about the letter of the law, which if you translate that over to today with what they're trying to do with making speech illegal over here by trapping all of our governors into signing laws for their states, they're putting us under Israeli law while they're distracting us with everything else. But if you look at what they're doing today, it's the exact same thing. Everyone is like, oh, you can't say this about, you need to respect this about my culture and you need to respect that about my culture. And there's no assimilation. And Jesus was trying to teach assimilation and acceptance, not accepting craziness, la la land, things that violate the law of nature. But other than that, be chill. All right, let me get back to the chat. Man, whoo, y'all been chit chatting. Okay, I see. I'm the shit. Okay, let's see. Ooh, Seth says he has a Bible from 1920. That's interesting. I would love to see that. Vincent says, speak that truth, girl. Ed says, you're right. I'm very spiritual, but I don't find any religions. If you look at them, Cyrus, Isis, and Horus were literally Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. So last night on my show, I was educating my viewers that the word Genesis actually means generation of Isis. So go down that rabbit hole. I think you guys would find it pretty amazing. If you know, you know. That's right, Vincent. They're all the same story, different twist. Exactly. Every religion is sun worship. They all tell the same story of sun worship, the Messiah rising, eclipses, everything. When you really understand human origins, then you understand why everything is sun worship. Then Ryan says, remember y'all, when she opens up the phone lines, feel free to call in and talk about all this spiritual stuff. Yes. As for the Matrix, you're 100% right. Your husband has got to be a great dude. He is. Kudos for you being awakened. Thank you, Ed. Vincent says, if I lived near you, I would definitely have a cigar with him. Has to be a Cuban one. Definitely living in the 5D. Good for you. Here we go again. Backwater says, this is great. Am I ranting too much for you, Backwater? Yes, Tibet. Look up, man. Yep. Awesome lectures and words of wisdom, Manly P. Hall. Never piss off the native Indians. Respect for Big Chief 2 Buffalo. I am not kidding. New record, I think. I'm about to bounce, but sending some love. Thank you. You have a good night, Ed. And says, think she's a tad passionate. I'm just trying to get the truth out there about the world we live in. Vincent says he's got to go. All right, you have a good one. All right, my computer is frozen. All right, here we go. I have saved it. We are good. All right. Ed said he has some trolling to do. Why am I not surprised? That big orange ball in the DHY? Huh? There's a glitch in the matrix. Facebook banned me for 2 years for sending someone their IP address and home address. Yeah, don't do that shit. Oh, that's hilarious because the Native American that I have in me is Blackfoot, confirmed by DNA test. Thank you, Ed. You have a good night, and do not you dare even attempt to do any little fun hacker shit my way. I swear, because I already ran for Congress. I already know how to come for you if you want to get any wild ideas about IP addresses and shit. And you knew. JK, not really. Yeah. I'll have the dogs on anybody that attempts to stalk me because that's already happened to me. And I learned a lot. I learned how to become a badass. Basically. Hey, we can have good fun, right, Ed? Whilst telling the truth. Just have to make it known. You joked about it, so I had to make it known. I'm not saying you a stalker. I'm just saying that we all have our different addictions. You know, my dad was on his computer. This is hilarious because when my dad was, this is probably 30 years ago, when the internet first went into people's homes. 35 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, 30 years ago. My dad ended up on somewhere on the internet he shouldn't have been early on, and he got hit this pop-up that came up that told him he had like 10 seconds to shut down his internet and get the fuck out of there. It was wild. I was like, Dad, you behave yourself. Don't be getting us in trouble. All right. Going back to TikTok land. Russia is doing what with African recruits?
What is your name? Francis. Сейчас побежит хули, ебать, он по лесу будет скакать. Давай, пшел. Шо сказал? Давай, иди. Иди, сказал.
О, глянь, сколько одноразочек. Еще и поют. Радостные. Ничего, сейчас на залив пойдут. По-другому запоют.
Вот is your name? Francis. Сейчас побежит хули, ебать, он по лесу будет скакать. Давай, пшел.
He's terrified.
Давай, иди, сказал.
I don't know if y'all can read that, but it's basically saying that Russia is like luring Africans out of Africa under false pretenses and forcing them to fight. That is really fucked up. That's so fucked up. Oh my God. Yo, we gotta make this known. This is terrible. Seth says, if I get a stalker, they gonna handle business. Word up. All All right, Ed, you have a good night. Appreciate it. This is they're making him suicide bomb. This is what Ryan is saying. This is wild. Wonder what the comments say. Let's see if there's any good comments. This is really sad. Someone posted a gif of Peter Griffin with a 5 o'clock shadow late up at night with his armpits sweating on his laptop, scared to say what is actually going on. We also covered the fact that they are trafficking kids from this war to America. So this guy had a bomb strapped on him. Oh my God. Let's go back to the beginning.
What is your name?
Francis.
Сейчас побежит
Oh, you can
хули,
see it
ебать,
now.
он по
Oh,
лесу
that's
будет
what that is.
Давай, в шо?
Oh, poor
Шо
baby.
сказал? Давай, иди. Иди, сказал.
Oh my God. It's disgusting. That breaks my heart. Well, now I have something that I'm going to be flapping my gums about a lot. Wow. My stomach hurts. I tell you what. We need Armageddon because we are fucked up. All right. I am going to have to take a break and read an ad for you guys. So we will be back to videos in just a moment. All right. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. And a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Okay. All right. So we are going to get back to videos. JD Vance, his Secret Service got honeypotted. Womp womp.
Can I see your badge again with your photo? You said you were training. It was your training?
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago.
You're so cute. So like when he's like walking, like where are you?
Follow him.
Just follow him.
There's a group of us, we surround, make them up.
Yeah.
We'll have a leash, a minimum head, and now that I'm on the vice president's actual detailed a little different because we have different shifts. We have shift.
Can I see your badge again with your photo? You said you were training. It was your training?
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago.
She went for, you gotta go for like the 5s, the 6s and belows because good looking guys would be too suspicious of her. You gotta get them all their marbles in their head going. So you know what man wouldn't want to hear, oh, you're so cute, I love your smile, you know what I'm saying? There's a really great episode on Sean Ryan. He's not paid me to say this at all. But it is with the Russian sex spy, honeypot spy. You should totally watch that episode. She is 100% legit, giving you the psych check mark of approval. She's gorgeous, and she's brilliant, and it's amazing, and she's fucking tough as nails. She's been through some shit. Go watch it. It's worth it.
You're so cute. So like when he's like walking, like where are you?
Following.
Just following.
There's a group of us who surround, make a bubble.
Yeah.
We'll have at least a minimum head and
Oh my god. So just tell everyone all the plans. How many people are going to be around him? She's literally going to deliver this information to someone because something's going to happen. They're probably going to try to make a swipe at Trump because Iran is saying, didn't you see that today? Iran saying we won't miss this time. Not weird. Shit's getting weird, folks. If you don't got ammo, listen, no one has enough. Nobody has enough ammo.
Vice president's actually detailed a little different because we have different shifts. We have shift.
Can I see your badge again?
What? So you could definitely tell this was a different day. So she had to work on this. She had to lure him in. You're so cute. Da 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 da. I would have made a great honeypot spy. Until they told me I had to sleep with my target. Then I'd be like, what the fuck? No, not doing it. Ryan said this bitch has more camera angles than your show on this fat loser. What? Right, and this time too. Yeah, shit's getting wild. All right. I'm going to open the hotline up for anybody who wants to call and have a good time. Have a chat, say hello. Here's the number. It is 904-530-1422. Ooh, I just let out a good one. Y'all did not want to hear that. I'll leave it open for a little bit. Yeah, this guy's an idiot. Anybody can call in and comment on this video. Don't be shy. It's 11:11. Now someone really should call in. 904-530-1422. Tell me what your wish is. Ooh, what was that? All right. While I'm waiting for you guys to call, I'm going to go to the next video. There's no changing the mind of stupid, as we have said a lot in the comments of this show.
Have you seen the new video that came out?
Get out of the car.
What's your take there?
It looked like she was backing up. I don't know how anyone could get she was trying to go forward.
So what happens there, you think?
It didn't look like he was hit. I bet he jumped a little.
Basically, he's making it an excuse. We know the government is lying.
How do you think they're going to explain when the ICE agent fell here?
They're going to say that she ran him over. They're going to make all these excuses.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. If you move your phone, that's what it is.
That's the body cam of the ICE agent who was hit.
They will run into these vehicles, I promise you. These guys are stupid.
Have you seen the new video that came out?
This girl has no voice left. This girl has no voice left. This is hysterical. Okay. Well, the phone line is now closed. Because y'all so chicken. Chicken. Do, 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 do. All right. Let's see. I guess we're just gonna go on to the next video. Luna took my voice away. Yep. I made a little and screwed her voice up. But I do want to know, can a man get pregnant? Let's see.
Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal
I'm explaining where I paused because I almost said the truth.
is the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
Get 'em. I think
So
this
let's
is
just test that
Hawthorne.
proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
Can men get
I take care
pregnant?
of many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics.
We have got to get these people out of business because when we're old and can't take care of ourselves, they're not going to know if we're a guy or a girl. Actually, they will because the ones that do this to themselves don't live very long. But, they'll get older and eventually realize that no one's having it anymore because we're done with this shit.
So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding.
Thank
This is
you.
about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. The United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
Ouch.
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's
That's
biological
right.
men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not gonna answer my question, it sounds like to me.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor.
Fuck you,
Can men
bitch. You fell for the patriarchy, you asshole. We have fucking men trying to claim that they're trying to experience childbirth by shoving silicone babies up their assholes, man. These people make a mockery of womanhood, the power of femininity. Men who can't beat real men in competitive areas of life are now having to be women and just go kick women asses to feel good about their bitch beta selves. So you fell for them patriarchy, Dr. Verma.
get pregnant? Yes or no?
I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask. I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
It also
We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged. And yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously.
He's not even debating the trans thing. He's like, I'm talking about biological men and biological women. He's giving in to the distinctions. So I'm talking about this group over here, the biological ones. She can't even fucking understand that. Golly. You know, they never can identify when you are trying to find common ground. They can never see it.
And your claims to be a person of science, if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm...
Yeah, she probably did, go to those elite schools, Again, as a person of science.
Also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized languages...
Why don't you fix your fucking hair, girl? It should look like a broom.
Language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women. And I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing.
This is why they say math is racist now. Y'all remember? Y'all know that girl? That does the children's videos and she makes fun of these stupid liberals.
That is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as...
Which you probably don't know when you faked your way into our country.
Women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women. And I think it's extraordinary that you would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
It is quite depressing. Whew. This is why I say watch C-SPAN. I'm telling you, they show all the hearings. You won't have to rely on edited, cherry-picked clips. Whoo-wee. I can't even... How are we here? How are we here? So how many people were killed in Iran?
We have stunning new information on the number of people who may have been killed in the anti-government protests in Iran. Two sources, one inside Iran, tell CBS News the number could be as high as 12,000. We are learning that the regime could start executing jailed protesters today.
More videos emerged yesterday appearing to show the carnage of the regime's crackdown in Iran. Row upon row of body bags, many of the images too distressing for us to show you. Kaiwan Darodi is an investigator for an Iranian human rights monitoring group who lives in exile in neighboring Iraq. He and a network of others are working to verify videos of lethal violence by the Iranian authorities and the names of those who've been killed, including 17-year-old Amir Ali Haidari, who relatives say was shot at a protest last week.
How big a threat are these protests to the Iranian regime?
It's the biggest threat in 47 years, Darodi told us, referring to the entire period of Iran's Islamic rule. But since the authorities cut off the internet last Thursday, it's been harder to get any information out of Iran.
Okay, good. Do you feel better now?
Darodi told us that restoring internet access is much more important than any US military strikes, which he fears may achieve little. We prefer that the people topple the regime, he told us. Without their participation, military strikes will not be effective. Iranian human rights groups are warning that one protester, 26-year-old Irfan Soltani, may be executed by the regime today. He was apparently arrested just last week.
We have stunning new information on the number of people.
Executed today. What was his name at the end?
Old Irfan Soltani may be executed. Military strikes will not be effective. Iranian human rights groups are warning that one protester, 26-year-old.
Let's see. Efren Soltani. That sounds Greek. He must be mixed. Right, and the left woke idiots say Trump is fascist and America is fascist. They don't know what that is, apparently. All right. CNN's coverage of ICE under Obama. Let's watch this.
Under the cloak of darkness in Chicago,
Attack one, guys.
an immigration and customs enforcement team gears up for another long day, pursuing undocumented immigrants who have been convicted of crimes in the U.S. ICE agents mistakenly arrest the target's brother.
In the process of talking to him in the vehicle, he then said, "Oh, no, I'm actually so-and-so. Who you're looking for is over here, this other address." He led us to that address, and we were able to actually arrest the individual.
Do you have evidence, right, that he's using a fake identity, or?
That is correct. We believe he's been using a U.S. citizen's identity to live and work. He has an Illinois driver's license. Third target, he has an unauthorized use of a weapon, which was a firearm. He has a couple DUIs. He is a criminal. He has extensive criminal history. And by taking him out of the community, it's making the community safer. And that's ICE's purpose, is to focus on criminals and community safety by taking these recidivist criminals out of our community.
Under the cloak of darkness in Chicago.
Well, now I know what my next reel is going to be about. Next video. Obama is a hypocrite.
I can't believe Obama even had the nerve to say this.
Imagine if I had done any of this.
You did.
Right.
In your time as president, you deported somewhere between 2 to 5 million illegal immigrants, with an estimated 1.7 million of them having never seen an immigration judge. My dude, you held courts where the presiding judge was an immigration agent. That's the highest court that nearly 2 million illegal immigrants saw under your tenure. Oh, and not only did you deport nearly 2 million, with an estimated 1.7 million of them having never seen an immigration judge. My dude, you held courts where the presiding judge was an immigration agent. That's the highest court that nearly 2 million illegal immigrants saw under your tenure. Oh, and not only did you deport nearly 2 million people without a single judge having a say, but then you also made sure to charge these people with felonies once they reached their home country so that they were deterred from entering, or it would have been another felony for 5 years. Just long enough for you to get the fuck out of office. Your practices were so unconstitutional that you were repeatedly sued by the ACLU. So what the fuck are you talking about when you go, imagine if I had done this? Right. You did fucking do it to a significantly higher degree than Trump. And somehow, you ended up with a fucking peace prize. I can't believe Obama even had the nerve to say.
Hooey. Ooh-wee. All right. So where did the Somali fraud money go?
Rich, what have you found?
Hi, Elizabeth. So a retired naval intelligence officer says he tracked hundreds of millions of dollars flowing from fake Minneapolis daycares through suitcases at Minneapolis Airport to Somalia, straight to the terror group Al-Shabaab. Philip Parrish was part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force in 2016. He connected the dots to U.S. designated terror fronts. His ignored warnings tonight raised new questions about fraud and taxpayer dollars.
In 2016, we were already tracking that it was adding up to hundreds of millions of dollars. And that was just what we were tracking then.
In 2016, Philip Parrish, then a lieutenant in the Navy, was ordered to join the Joint Terrorism Task Force and follow the flow of...
What's up, Silverback? He says, just wanted to say hello. I didn't catch where I'm supposed to send my info to you for yesterday's video to win. Right there, you see Ryan.Lopez86. He says, DM me, I send them out. So get a hold of Ryan.Lopez86. That's the producer. and he sends them out. So let me pin his comment. All right, cool.
Money to terror groups in Africa and the Middle East. Then he found an alarming tie to the U.S.
There's an interesting pattern here.
He cares through suitcases at
Rich, what have you found?
It says Navy intel officer tracked $100 million from Minnesota daycare to foreign terror groups. Okay.
Hi, Elizabeth. So a retired naval intelligence officer says he tracked hundreds of millions of dollars flowing from fake Minneapolis daycares through suitcases at Minneapolis airport to Somalia, straight to the terror group Al-Shabaab. Philip Parrish was part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force in 2016. He connected the dots to U.S. designated terror fronts. His ignored warnings tonight raised new questions about fraud and taxpayer dollars.
In 2016, we were already tracking that it was adding up to hundreds of millions of dollars. And that was just what we were tracking then.
In 2016, Philip Parrish, then a lieutenant in the Navy, was ordered to join the Joint Terrorism Task Force and follow the flow of money to terror groups in Africa and the Middle East.
See?
Then
It applies with everything. Follow the money.
he found an alarming tie to the U.S.
There's an interesting pattern here happening where the money's coming out of Minneapolis International Airport. Well, where's it coming from? Are they getting it in Minneapolis? Where's it coming from? Well, that led to then some research about a list of fake companies. Well, it's all cash that's coming out of these fake daycares and/or daycares with inflated numbers.
Parrish
Ryan, if
connected
you
the
want to
dots
pick a show
for
for me to
military
rate, that'd be
operations
cool.
abroad. How much money?
Hundreds of millions. You know, when you're talking suitcases of evidence reports, of suspicious activity reports from banking, TSA reports from the airport, and then the military side of the house tracking who it got to, you're talking about tens of thousands, $300,000, $500,000, all these different varying amounts daily. The open source material will tell you every other week out of Terminal 2. But it was daily.
In 2016, 2017, you were with JTTF, and your professional
The feed's been great
opinion
tonight,
and
Backwater.
experience, the money that you saw leaving Minneapolis airport, the hundreds of millions of dollars, was that ending up in the hands of terrorists?
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Direct portions of it were ending up in the hands of terrorists, absolutely. All the way from pirate boats being bought to essentially the administration of a terrorist network administratively.
Parrish said they tracked the money couriers to the Netherlands, then to Nairobi, Kenya, then straight into Mogadishu, into money exchanges called hawalas, the same exchanges that the Department of Treasury had already designated in 2012 as fronts for the terror group Al-Shabaab. And while the military depended on his reports, he says the public has largely ignored them.
Hundreds of men and women like me know the truth. It's been the truth all along. We don't know why we've been ignored, other than thieving and grifting. A culture of thieving and grifting.
I'm sure they x-ray luggage, but I'm sure TSA agents were getting paid to look the other way, or they probably put certain lead in there to block the image and then paying the TSA agents off, you know?
That was intentional, no matter how it started.
Parrish retired from the Navy in 2019 as a lieutenant commander. He's now running for governor here as a Republican. He lays most of the blame, he says, on what he calls the Democratic establishment here, but he's clear. He says politicians on both sides of the aisle, Elizabeth, were well aware of this for years.
Of course they were, because there's
Rich,
no
what
such
have you
thing
found?
as left and right. All right, we have our last video. And then I gotta pick our fan of the day. So don't go anywhere. Yeah, for real. I want to know that too, Seth. When do the indictments for treason start coming down? That's never going to happen for the same reason why Epstein list is never going to happen, because everyone's freaking compromised. Everybody. That's why they all go to the wall, which is how I know they'd have something on Trump, because Trump's kissing Israel's ass and went to the wall. So, you know, when they don't comply, you die. I mean, it's what it is. And look, they did it to JFK, the only president that wasn't Catholic. I think Trump's not Catholic. I think that was one of the first things they said when he got elected the first time when he was getting sworn in. But yeah, Charlie Kirk wasn't Catholic. Just saying. Clinton, yes, I found out he's in contempt of Congress. So, when are the gallows coming out? This is why he said, they can release him. I don't care. We don't have anything we don't need to be protected. We're fine. They're so arrogant. Oh, man. I would riot over that shit. I would. I'm not calling for violence. Voice print. All right. Our last video is a doggy. A smart one.
I got a hernia. Ready?
Okay. What? Oh, they'll put their, if your dog is smart, they'll put their legs up to protect you from the wall.
Okay.
Nope. To protect them from the wall. Yeah. We have too many smart dogs in our house. I would like one that's like that. Basically a teddy bear. We don't have the breeds for it. Y'all, my skin has been so bothersome today. Ooh. Nope. I don't think anyone's gonna go to jail either, Seth, unfortunately. But all right, who is going to be my winner? I'm gonna go with Woodrow. Woodrow Moore. He's been coming in here pretty regularly and hasn't won yet, so. And he chatted. You know, chatted, and he's been chatting more and more. Maybe he'll call Woodrow E. All right, so Woodrow Moore. Make sure you hit up producer Ryan. Ryan.Lopez86 in Instagram. He can get you the sign, you know, the autographed lipstick kiss show notes. All right, Woodrow. If you aren't here, I will make sure to let you know next time I see you that you won. Congrats. I want to know if Gilly's gonna get that tattooed on him for real, but we'll see. Oh, there you are. Yes, you're welcome, Woodrow. Just hit up producer Ryan. All right, I guess they're not gonna pick a show for me to raid because I'm ready to dip on out of here. Yeah, the Luna Army. We gotta get on to Gilly tomorrow when we see him. All right. Well, I hope you guys feel inspired to fight back a bit. And with that, I bid you guys adieu. Have a good night.